I believe that if, as long as it's being manufactured in this country, it's my belief. I don't care if it's a robot from Tesla, from Elon. I don't care if it's Joe Blow from down the street. If we can find a way to bring some of this stuff back here in America, I believe it'll benefit us economically and it'll benefit us morally and in a morale standpoint, I should say.
Yeah,
So I don't see anything wrong with it,
Uh,
and I
I'll
don't see
jump in
why
a
that
little
would be a
bit.
problem.
Councilman
you
Mark.
guys.
Yeah, let me jump in for a little bit. I know
Oh,
Mark, you talk.
wait. I was waiting.
Hold on,
But
Brad.
yeah,
Yeah.
Felix, you can't just jump in over one of our regular guests.
Hey, you guys want to talk? You guys, you don't want somebody
No.
new to put a
Who was
comment.
that? DLS waiting?
Yeah,
That
but
was
I
me.
was.
Felix, come on. You got to come to this country, the way everybody else did. Let's go, LS.
Hey, Grant, I'm American citizen. Don't even start there.
Well, then you got to wait sometimes. Let's go, LS.
Come on.
Well, I'm gonna say something. But
Listen, we're
Jonathan,
gonna
am I
leave
still on
here.
timeout?
Go ahead,
No, go
LS.
ahead.
You're not on timeout, LS. God damn.
I'm gonna say one thing, and I'm gonna try to be quick as possible for content. I said this yesterday in the lounge. So Muhammad Iran, I always say his name wrong, who ran PIMCO, okay, and the bonds said that it was a 50-50 bet on Bloomberg. He said that. He said, I don't know where this is going, and no one does. And he's never been proven wrong. He ran PIMCO after Bill Gross, Bond King, okay? So my point being to this in robotics, I said this is Scoren as well, there will be manufacturing and robotics in it, but then we're retooling the whole economy for the new generation because a lot of people are retiring. So we have to look at when we say jobs. I'm not defending Trump one way or the other. I'm always neutral on this. But when we say jobs, we have to look at who can work those jobs, who can understand AI or tech or whatever. And a lot of companies are getting into Agenta AI. That's your agent. So it does a lot of shit. Like I think Mark just said, humans make mistakes, including me. We all do. But you've got to have systems that correct the mistakes. Just like Microsoft put out Word, it can do your word spelling. So if you miss
Yeah, well,
something,
you
it will
need to get it.
correct you.
You need to get a robot that knows how to land the conversation quicker. Let's go to
I'm
Felix.
landing. I'm landing right
Let's
now.
go to
I do.
Felix now.
You're right, Grant. I do. I'm gonna
Yeah,
use a
yeah,
bot for that. You're right.
yeah.
But my point being,
Let's
but
go to
my point
Felix.
being,
Felix is at immigrations. Let him in now.
Yeah, first of all, Grant, I'm actually an American citizen, so don't go there with me. The
Well,
first thing.
you've been cleared. You've been cleared. Go ahead.
Okay, good. I'm being cleared. Immigration has cleared me. Thank
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
sir.
You're cleared.
Thank,
You're a good guy. We had you
thank you, sir.
confused with somebody else that looked like you.
I know. I'm not gonna be taken to immigration jail. So one thing I think you talked about was being American, we more consumers. That's the same example that we can talk about food. When you're taking food, you're more a consumer and taking it, and somebody producing the food. Who needs more? Who needs more? Is it the person producing the food or the person consuming the food? So that's one of the things you need to think about when it's consumers, because America is mostly consumers might need more. And then when we talk about manufacturing, so if you bring manufacturing back in America, do you know those factories might need rebuilding? And most of the rebuilding stuff we need steel. So what do you think where we're going to get the steel? The steel we're going to have to ask China to get the steel so we can
We're gonna
rebuild
get it from
all of
China
factories.
without. We're gonna get it from China without paying a tariff.
Well, yeah, how are you going to do that if they don't want?
We're working on it right now, bro.
But you're going to rebuild it. So you're still going to definitely need China to do that. So you're not going to be dependent on yourself. So you're going to need China to rebuild that. So everything you guys are talking about is
Well,
something we're going to.
unless they don't get it right, then we'll have a steel mill here. We've had them before.
Yeah,
Have the
but
manufacturing
You guys,
capabilities to
you
build
but
guys,
our
you
own
guys,
steel.
you
listen.
guys just believe that we cannot manufacture in this country. You actually believe that we not only can we not manufacture, we cannot do it competitively, and it's not true
It's not happening any time right now.
That's
because you
not
How is
quit
true.
it going to
first.
happen?
Because you quit first.
That's not
It's
true. That's not true.
it.
Let me say this real quick, Grant. So here's the thing, right? Hyundai announced hundreds of billions of dollars of investment in America after Trump was elected. Mayoshi's son,
And
Sam
explain to them,
Altman,
Snarky,
had
that wasn't to build cars; it was to make steel.
correct. And not only that, but to create manufacturing hubs here in America. Mayoshi's son, Sam Altman, AI, 500, they announced $500 billion investment in the United States. Saudi Arabia announced hundreds of billions of dollars of investment here in the United States after Trump was elected. You have to ask yourself, he raised over $1 trillion within the first 60 days of his election. You have to ask yourself, where's all this investment coming from? Two things, folks. Number one, they realize that Trump is incentivizing homegrown development and creation and manufacturing. He's incentivizing sellers from international markets to create their products here in the United States, which is why you've seen over $1 trillion of investment committed to being done here in the United States. You think those announcements were for show? No, folks, they were not for show. They were actual commitments because Trump is lining up. Everybody thinks there's like a whole bunch of chaos going on, but there's really a concerted effort to create an incentivize U.S. manufacturing development here in this country. Number two, and probably more important than anything, you have to understand we're getting into a scenario in which the world is becoming more isolated, countries are becoming more populous, and they're becoming more national centric. And so they're less interested in dependency on other governments and other countries to sustain their own welfare. The United States is leading the way in this effort. The United States have dedicated and committed through the president that it's no longer going to remain dependent and interdependent on foreign governments and foreign countries to supply our steel, to supply our lumber, to supply our semiconductors, to supply our chips. That is a net negative for America, and it's a national security risk in the event that something does pop off with Russia and Ukraine. Something does pop off with Iran and Israel. Something does pop off with China and Taiwan. Can you imagine for a second what that would do to the U.S. economy if China was to invade Taiwan? And we're so exposed and vulnerable because we don't create our own chips here in America and we rely on Taiwan that now we have to check in with the Chinese government. We have to check in with the CCP, Xi Jinping, whether or not we can get our annual order of chips to support our US-based IP. Remember, we own the IP in America. That's the point of us being a service-based economy. We own the IP. We export the manufacturing.
Talking.
So now what we're doing is we're
TC,
creating a manufacturing base here in the States so that we don't have to depend on Taiwan and geopolitical things that happen in China and
Oh
Taiwan,
Lord.
whether or not America gets its semiconductors and
When
chips.
you
We
talk
Oh
woman,
shit, I'm
currently
off
own
but,
this.
mute.
but here's the thing: TC is actually not wrong, and to further
What'd he
back
say,
up
Mark?
and to a lot, but I can follow it all. But that's how our brother is, and that's okay. He's a highly intelligent brother, and I respect what he's saying. He knows he's a little long with it, but that's
Let me
okay.
clap.
We've been knowing that for 5 years.
That's your brother. That's not our
That's
brother.
my
And
brother.
yeah,
Well, that's
that's
my
he with
brother right
you.
there. That's
We
my
don't know
brother.
him.
You know what I'm saying? That's my brother right there. But to further back up his
We
point,
don't know
we
that
have
white boy.
that's crazy work. IB, that's wild. That's diabolical, bro. we have to remember how we got here in the first place. The way that we got here is through capitalism and being penalized for being capitalist, meaning businesses and companies being penalized in the form of taxes, which caused them to have to outsource certain processes and certain products, and that's how we got here today. Because businesses were getting penalized here in the United States of America. Had that not been happening, we wouldn't be so interdependent on these other countries and rely on all these different things because everything's getting outsourced. We would have
so
kept everything
profits,
here.
Mark, profits didn't drive them and cheap labor overseas, almost
Say
slave
that
labor.
again, brother. Say that again. I'm sorry.
Profits wasn't the driving motive behind that, and cheap labor across
Of
seas.
course, when
Labor.
listen, when you're trying
Now,
to
now,
grow
so
your bottom line and your top line, and I apologize if you're speaking. Were you trying to say something? I don't want to cut you off.
no, I'm just saying, but we can't just say that they were taxed to death.
They were taxing them.
They were given.
Why do you think these
So,
companies, some companies moved out of the United States completely? Everything went up here in the form of taxes, whether it be the cost of domestic products. It was high. So people, what
Free
do?
trade and
Naturally,
globalization.
they're gonna outsource, whether it be customer service agents, whether it be certain elements and natural resources that are needed to conduct business here in the United States. Get them from other countries. Might be too expensive to do it here. So it makes sense to try to get everything centralized back in America, man, because this is how we got here in the first place. Because if we have the resources that they speak about here in the United States, why aren't we manufacturing? Why are companies leaving the United States? They have to be incentivized to come back. That's the only way we can become a superpower once again, in my opinion. Could be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, Mark, I listen to you
Why did y'all
all the
leave me up
time.
here, by the way? That's
Mark,
crazy work. I'm just here by
Mark,
I
myself.
mean,
Let's
I,
go.
I,
so I
My
do
bad.
I do want to talk for a moment on Felix's point about this idea that's like, oh, we're going to get all our steel from China. Yes, China is the number one steel producer in the globe, but I'd like to point out we've got U.S. Steel trades under the ticker X, right? We've got CLF, Cleveland Cliffs. They own everything from the iron and the coal mines all the way through the foundries, and they're all American, all American. And we got Nucor, and it's pretty much the same situation there. And I'd also like to point out people to say, like, oh, we don't have manufacturing in America. The Ohio River, okay? The river, south of Ohio, north of Kentucky and West Virginia, ships the same amount of tonnage every year as the Panama fucking Canal. I want you to think about that for a second. It's not even the Mississippi, right? This is the Ohio River before it even gets to the Mississippi, ships the same amount of tonnage as the Panama Canal, the connection between the Atlantic and the Pacific Ocean, right? So, I mean, we do have a manufacturing base here. And yes, it's not as powerful as it was. And yes, there are huge issues with growing it, and it will take 3 to 5 years, you know. The question is going to be really the real question here, folks, is, you know, we've lost what, like 5-7 trillion in the last 2 days. Now, well, we only have so many more trillions to go, folks, before we're out of money, right? So, like, when does this pain stop, right? And
We've lost
it's a big
hundreds of
gamble.
trillions over the years by exporting all our jobs.
We have indeed exported jobs, Grant. You're not wrong about that, but
And look at you look at the shrimp industry. I grew up in Louisiana. The shrimp industry was destroyed because we allowed no tariffs on shrimp coming back into America when we have the Gulf of America for all our shrimp. It is preposterous that we would import shrimp from Vietnam when we have them right here in America. That's
And
what
it,
we
and
did,
it,
and
and
we gutted the entire shrimp industry. All those jobs down there were people, they depend the fisheries that depended on jobs for years. We gutted them until where they couldn't have their boats, they couldn't keep their boats, their captains, their workers, until we became completely dependent upon getting garbage products that are frozen from another country, and
And
it's
the
because of
shipping
bad
water.
policies.
and the question I always ask, and I would love a question, an answer to that. I don't know if we'll ever get it. Is why? How were we incentivized to take these losses? Where was the gain in it for us? It looks like I don't know if there was some type of accords or agreements with other countries that, hey, we're going to invest this much in you in this way, or our goal is to strengthen this nation that obviously hates us. I don't get it.
Hey, why you think a congressman from Ohio spends so much time overseas?
Man, it beats me, brother. I
Why
don't
you think
know.
these guys spending all half their time the mayor of LA spending time in Ghana while our fucking city's burning to the ground? Because
I
she's
don't
doing
know. It's
deals, bro.
weird.
She's doing deals.
It's weird, man. It's absolutely weird to me. I don't know how we
And
got here.
taxpayers are paying for these trips. It's insanity.
And I mean, I'll say, like, by the time I got into school, which was 30708 meltdown, right?
Yeah,
They
yeah.
were already they were saying, oh, China's tapped out. Like they're starting to get more expensive in China. Now you send it to Malaysia and Vietnam, right? Now you send it there, right? I mean, so like that was already like known to the point where people were saying that in my classes, right? Like, oh, we don't like China's starting to get too expensive to manufacture stuff, right? Anyway, turns out there were a lot more poor people in China than my professors thought. But on the flip side, guys, we do have a really powerful consumer-based economy. And I mean, Grant, you even said that yourself. And one of the ways we did get there was by exporting a lot of our jobs and keeping a lot of our services. I'm not saying it was a good thing or a bad thing. I'm just saying that the leverage that you think we have now, one of the reasons we have that leverage is because we used very cheap labor in foreign territories, in order to build a consumer based economy. And like you said, it would take many years to build an economy like this. I mean, Vietnam's never going to have the consumer base that America has. It's not going to happen, not in 100 years, right? But here we are, right, with this consumer economy, and one of the things we sacrificed for that was some of our manufacturing. I land.
And the weirder part about that, I come back to the question why, because it's like a double investment. You invest by hiring or outsourcing jobs to individuals and corporations out there, only for the services and goods that get imported back into the United States to enter
Profits.
at a 90% tariff.
Corporate profits.
Yeah, I get
Mark, you
it,
don't
but
seem to
how in the
understand.
world
It's
was that
about
beneficial to
profits.
the United States in any capacity? That's the question
Mark,
I need an
it's
The
answer
a,
for. It's
it's
crazy.
corporations are
about
the ones that do.
profits. It's about profits. Don't you understand? I'm listening to what you're saying, and you don't seem to understand. Corporations
Wait a
decide.
minute, brother man, clubhouse
Okay,
brother. What
wait a
part am
minute.
I?
Wait a
What
minute. You
part am I
said
not
wait.
understanding?
He
No,
said you don't
I'm
understand,
saying,
and now
Right.
I'm saying,
now
I
he
don't
said, do
understand.
you not
I don't
understand? And now you
understand.
said he don't understand.
I
Yeah.
said, I
What
don't
part am I
understand.
missing? That
Yeah, I
a
don't like you
business.
dissing on my brother, man.
No, it's
Why
no.
you
He's
talking
not.
down to my guy Mark
He
Davis, man?
he ain't dissing me. It's okay.
Who
What
is this bitch?
what part about a business needing profits is difficult to understand? I mean, a business is not a
No, my
business
friend,
without
you're
it.
not
So
listening
what
to
part?
me.
I'm
You're
confused.
not, Mark, you're not listening to me. You're asking the question, why? What's the benefit? I'm saying that the corporations have made a decision about how to increase their profits. And they have
That's not what I
chosen
asked. I asked what?
that.
Hey, what? 1 second. You're not. Wait a minute. You're not listening, and you don't understand. I asked very specifically, what was the benefit to the United
Mm,
States of America? I didn't ask what was the
Okay,
benefit to the
What's
okay,
the
let me
corporation.
benefit to the
answer.
We are.
Let me
Hold on
corporation?
one
answer.
moment.
The
We
benefit
already
to
spoke. We already
okay,
spoke about the
Mark.
benefit to the
Okay, okay,
corporation. So,
But
what was
okay,
the
that's why it
benefit
okay,
to the
happened. It's
U.S.?
okay,
very simple.
okay. The benefits to the United States of America, if the corporations make a profit, they pay tax. The US gets that. Now, my point is that you've raised that, and I'm trying to say that corporations determine where can we go to produce our goods or have services that will drive our profits.
But the key
That
point,
Corporations don't always
that
pay
still
the key
doesn't
taxes.
point
answer
you're
my
missing.
question.
Well,
That
the
didn't
key
answer
point
my
you're
question.
missing here, my British friend, is we decided to drop those corporate tax rates for 20 years bipartisanly. Both Democrats and Republicans
Exactly.
decided to cut these taxes because it was supposedly good for business. So while they're doing the China hustle and selling the average American worker out to the foreign economy, they also did not have the
you want some
balls
hydrogen
to
water
tax the American
right before
corporations
you go to
that
sleep?
were
See if it
making
helps you sleep better.
ever increasing
How do you know?
amounts of profit.
Mm-hmm.
So again,
You don't?
there's the misunderstanding. Like,
Oh my God, I
and
love them
I
because
get
they're
it.
crisp.
Uncle G, we can hear you talking about some crisp hydrogen water, brother. Sounds delicious. I hope it has a great alkaline composition to it. This brother who came in very entitled with his British accent. Again, I think you missed the parameter of the conversation. And the question is somewhat rhetorical because we'll never get the answer because it's been going on so long that there are individuals who made these decisions in the beginning that are actually dead that we can't get answers from. You understand me, my friend? But carry on, y'all. Go ahead.
First of all, I don't think having a British accent makes you entitled. I was listening to you and I've just responded. If you don't agree with me, that's something else, you know?
Well, what you did was you came in and you actually insulted me and said that I don't understand.
No, no, I did not
You
say,
see, and
no,
not that I
no,
took it as an
no,
insult,
I
but it
did
was
not
kind of a
say
shot.
that.
So when you
No,
came in and you said you don't
no,
understand,
Mark,
one moment, brother.
no,
When you
I
came in
said,
and you
no,
said that
Mark, listen
you
to
don't
me.
understand, brother. One
Listen to
moment,
me.
I'll give
I
the mic
said,
back to
I
you.
don't
I have no problem with you
understand.
speaking.
No,
So
sir.
when you came
I
in and you
said,
said that I don't understand, when you
no,
actually
you're
didn't
not listening
understand
to
the
me, Mark.
parameters
I
of the
said, I
conversation
don't.
and the question, it was a
Mark,
little bit strange.
you keep talking. You're not hearing me. I said, I
Brother,
don't
I was
understand.
brother. 1 second. The way a
My God.
conversation typically goes is one person
Mark,
speaks, the
he's
other
trying to
person
speak,
lands their
buddy.
mic,
Let him
and then
speak.
you chill out too. Usually, the way a
That
conversation
person
goes
speak.
is one person speaks, the other person is quiet, and then the next person goes. So I'm handing you the microphone, brother. You were speaking while I was speaking. So go right ahead, brother.
Mark, I said, when I responded, I said, I don't understand what your questions or considerations were. I began by saying, I don't understand, not that you don't understand. I wasn't being dismissive to what you were saying. And then I continued by saying, corporations make a decision about where they invest and how they grow profit. And then somebody else said, okay, well, the tax rate was dropped. I wasn't insulting you.
Okay, maybe I'm lost and I'm in the matrix, but I literally heard you say that I didn't understand when you came off your microphone, which is why we ended up having the debate in the first place. So maybe I'm in the matrix or maybe I'm in the twilight zone, but I heard you very clearly, my brother, or we wouldn't have had a debate at all. But
My
y'all
friend,
go ahead. Y'all have it. Take
okay,
the
my friend,
microphone.
okay, you heard what you heard, and I've just tried to explain what I was saying. So hopefully that addresses the missing situation on both our parts.
Are you done?
Yeah, I was just addressing,
He's
I
done.
was, yeah, yeah.
Floor is open.
Okay, my
Floor is
point,
open, yo.
all I was saying was that I was responding to the statements about corporations being in other countries and doing what they were doing. I was just responding to that. I gave my perspective. Then another person spoke about tax changes, but I had presented what I thought.
Yeah, what I was just stating was when we moved that money, right, as as the American worker was being sold out by American politicians, they bipartisanly, right, both Democrats and Republicans would continuously cut taxes on corporate profits. So while corporations profited massively at record rates by moving what was previously American jobs overseas, instead of bringing that benefit indirectly back to the American people by taxing those businesses, we instead did not have the balls to do that. And both Democrats and Republicans wanted to look super business friendly. And so they continuously dropped tax rates for decades. And while that's great for business, what you effectively did was you sold out the American middle class, you moved the work overseas, you lost the payroll tax, you lost all these other taxes you could have had, you had record profits for businesses, and you would not take that money to give back to those American people who indeed had lost their jobs, right? And could have used that money for things like upskilling, retraining, I don't know, college, whatever. I don't know, just investing in American entrepreneurs, for Christ's sakes, right? I mean, just let the free market and charge a flat tax. It's not hard. But instead, we just kept dropping rates and we kept letting those profits roll in, and we got addicted to outsourcing what was previously American
Well,
labor, right?
let's not
For a
pretend.
quick buck.
Let's not
And
pretend.
then we wouldn't even have the balls to get that buck back into American
Let's
pockets.
not pretend while they was dropping corporate rates all of those years, because I'm 53. I lived through that. Let's not pretend like we all got on that train and rode it to hell and back, because they were telling all of us that dropping corporate rates will actually stimulate the economy and cause these corporations to give more jobs out, that they were going to build more plants. I was living through that. So let's not pretend like that was not the rhetoric in the story, because they sold that at that time, and we championed the flag. We got on our little horses and we rode that prairie wide. So don't pretend like that wasn't the case. They said we're going to keep interest rates, we're going to keep taxes low, because that stimulates corporate, and that stimulates the business owner, and that causes them to hire more people while they were shipping jobs over. So let's not actually get all in our tizzies and snatch up our panties, because all of a sudden now we're saying, oh, they shipped all the jobs overseas, and that's what screwed us. We're all on board with that crap then. Let's not pretend like that wasn't the case. because that was the truth, and that's what we all
So
camped
you're
out on.
And
so you're
let's, hey,
against the
Stall.
tariffs? You're
Hey,
against
Stall,
the
can I
tariffs
jump in
then?
No,
here?
I'm
Well,
just
Can I?
telling
the
you
dude's
the
against the tariffs.
history. I didn't tell,
Let
I
me
didn't
jump
say
in
anything
here.
about
Let
that.
me jump
I
in
said
here.
let's not
Guy,
pretend
Go
like
ahead,
it's
hey,
going
Laura.
guy
on
You're
that
talk.
probably going to
Okay,
make a
guy
sense
talk,
play.
man talk, guy talk, testosterone talk. It's time for a female to have a little bit of voice that actually
Ooh, thank you,
ran
That
Jesus.
is
ran
Good
crazy.
Lord.
That's
manufacturing and
absolutely
Hallelujah.
distribution.
Go
crazy
ahead,
work.
Hey,
Laura.
hey, Mark,
That's
just give
crazy
me.
work.
Okay, a female can't talk that actually ran
No, no,
manufacturing
no, no, no. The,
distribution
the the
plants.
way you just tried to frame the parameters of the conversation as if we were trying to exclude women. You know we don't do that. Stop
No,
that
I'm not
nonsense.
saying that. I know Cindy speaks and Mickey speaks and other people speak. I've just been sitting here listening for 30 minutes. And so I just came in that way, just kind of intentionally. But I respect the men and the women and all genders in here. But I actually ran manufacturing and distribution plants with thousands of employees. I worked in the agriculture sector of the San Joaquin Valley, all the way from Fresno up through Oroville in California, producing everything from canned fruit and tomato products all the way through fresh produce, row crops, right? You have to have manufacturing plants in America. I also ran a plastic bag trash bag plant, selling into Costco, Ziploc bags to every retail grocery store in this country and food service establishments. So I know what it's like to run a facility from a CFO, from a COO standpoint. And there's a little bit of rhetoric here about what's the reality of what happened with respect to offshoring, because we closed down. First of all, one of the things that large manufacturing distribution companies would do is they would find other places in America that were more cost effective. So the rising minimum wage and labor rates and workers' comp insurance rates in California resulted in a shift of manufacturing where it could shift outside of out from California to other states like Pennsylvania and other places around the country. So that's what we did back with Transwestern Polymers, which is now owned by Pactiv, which owns Hefty Bag Company. So that company had to shut its California plant down, expand its Pennsylvania plant, and also implement equipment that would also reduce labor to offset the rising cost of labor just over time. Because if it had to make sense, it had to pencil, right? So we over time have continued to reduce the labor in our plants in America to try to keep manufacturing here. But where the question is, it's not about what's made in America. It's what makes sense to be made in America. So we also built a plant in China. This was back in 2003 to 2006 when I was COO of Transwestern Polymers. Then now go to back to the canned fruit and tomato industry that used to employ thousands of employees, and the fresh produce industry and vegetable row crops used to include thousands of employees in their plants and their farms. But we have agriculture farms like Taylor Farms, one of the largest privately owned farms in kind of near Monterey, California. And if you go to their farms today, even the planting of those row crops is being done by machinery that used to be hundreds of employees, the picking of the crops. So there's a massive, massive discussion here around what really is going on with respect to the need to offshore some of these manufacturing and distribution, not distribution as much because of the logistics of that, right? That's still obviously it's here. It's got to go from the ports to all over the country. But there's a lot more to be discussed regarding, again, what's made in America versus what makes sense to be made in America. And if you take a look at the I think it's 4 trillion imports and 3 trillion exports, right? Of the imports, 20 to 25% ain't ever going to be made in this country. There are certain imports that just are not, and actually some of those were not, the tariffs haven't even come in those. The semiconductors and the pharmaceuticals, the tariffs are under an exemption right now, partially because it just won't pencil. Again, what's made in America versus what makes sense to be made in America. Of the 70 to 75, and I'll land in just a minute. Of the
So what's
70 to
going on?
75, what?
I
Of
say
the
what?
70 to 75%, there's 6 sectors that just don't make sense. Plastic toys are not going to make sense. Certain fashion and apparel that's done in other countries, it just doesn't make sense. There's certain, and then of the 70% that there's 6 sectors that absolutely don't make sense. And I'll put it on my LinkedIn post in a minute. Of the 70% that could make sense, there's aspects of it regarding minerals and other things that are not going to come back to America, but there is about 20 to 30%
Okay,
that
what's
could
there going
possibly
on?
come back to America. But guys, it's not going to be some huge, huge shift. And the shift, and give me 30 more seconds, because I don't speak that much in this. I speak in other, but I will in time, because I'm fairly new to this and I'm trying to be respectful to the people that do speak. But there's plenty of people that speak. I'm not trying to diss anyone, but there are people with loud voices and long voices that it would be nice to let other people with experience speak up and add value. Back to you guys.
You were so correct there.
And thank you, Skull, for letting me jump in.
I love to hear from Laura.
Yeah, thank you,
Laura, the
Laura. And it's great to
CEO.
have somebody who actually has done manufacturing, and like I started my career in that industry decades ago, right? But, and then I see people in here talking about how they think something is, tooling when it's actually fasteners. And I mean, it's just crazy stuff, right? It's like, bro, do you even understand the sector that you want to bring back to this country? Clearly not. So, I mean, it's wild, wild work going on here. I'll land there.
Thank you, Lori. I appreciate you.
Hey, Mark, this is LS. I'm about to sign up, but I want to say hi, brother. Good to see you. And I'm trying to get an AI not to be as long-winded as everyone keeps telling me.
LS, what up, bro? I sent you my number in the back, in the messages, I should call it.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Moss. Good to see you, man. Always good. Let's keep the conversation going. I'm gonna work on myself because I don't think I'm as long-winded, but I gotta improve. This is a growth. Grant asked me one thing a few days ago. What do I learn when I'm in a room? I learn from different people's perspective, to apply knowledge and get a better understanding, and then apply wisdom. So, Grant, back to you on that. But he asked me that question, and it was like, why do I keep coming? Because we can all learn from each other when it's well. But good to see you, Mark. Bye.
Oh, I just want to address a couple of things because I've been listening. This is Miki. And I do agree mostly with Lawrence Gold is that people are listening to what the president is saying and the talking heads without really considering how we got to this position in 2025 and how the US got to be the number one economy. And it's because they chose to outsource these goods and services. And it's kind of disturbing to me, but I understand that the average American is not well versed in how the economy works. So a lot of these corporations that are overseas are actually United States corporations, and the fact that we have incentivized them through tax cuts, which we've also been told, mainly by Republicans, are also supposed to spur economic activity in this country. It would seem as if, I guess, that's not the case anymore. So in 2017, the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act gave them significant tax cuts, the largest they've ever received in history, by the way, even though a lot of your fave Fortune 100 companies actually pay very little federal income tax as it is. So they're also supposed to get another significant tax deduction. So I'm still not sure how we can have this conversation about manufacturing and the president destabilizing the economy by crashing the stock market on purpose and people agreeing with this. And it's almost like I'm hearing from a lot of business owners, but who are you selling to? Because in my head, economics is also a bit of math. So when people have a reduction in their investments, whether that be property, whether that be a business, whether that be education, a relationship, whatever, it creates a deficit, right? Because now I have to make that amount up. And it does not have to necessarily be a loan. It's just that, before January 1st, if you had a pretty decent portfolio, you had 15% more in value than you do today a few short months later. So the average person, when they see a reduction or a decline in their overall asset value, it does not spur them to economic activity. It actually spurs them to retract their dollars and not spend as much. So it's interesting to me that tonight we've heard from several people that are in business, meaning that they actually deal with consumers themselves, but they seem very, very, very optimistic that what is going on with the US stock market and potentially the economy is going to quote unquote be worth the sacrifice. But I wonder if they think that perhaps these individuals are going to sacrifice the goods and services that they themselves offer. Um, hmm. If I were in real estate and I were a landlord, I would be very, very worried. Or if I was selling properties, I would be extremely worried that because the stock market is going through a bit of a correction right now, it doesn't matter why, to be perfectly honest, even though we know why, right? That's pretty immaterial. That maybe people wouldn't move forth with, I don't know, paying their rent, or they would have to make that money up somewhere else. So I don't even need anyone to explain that to me. The eternal optimism of that which is the Trump supporter just continues to astound me. It's almost like a belief in the Lord that everything is going to be okay. I guess there's some magic quantitative easing that's going around, and the losses aren't really losses, and the American people can well afford to lose 15% in the market, I guess. But, go capitalism, go. I guess Donald Trump is going to rebrand capitalism as well, so that the way that American corporations have continued to dominate the landscape is now going to change because Donald Trump has told you that it needs to change. Okay, I got it.
Mickey, I think you missed the one of the key points tonight, which was that one of the reasons some of these points were so vigorously and passionately made is they need that answer to be true. Not that they want it, right? They need it, right? Because if not, you know, looking at this downturn in your portfolio, right, doesn't make a whole lot of sense if there's not some kind of big payoff at the end. Because these are business people at the end of the day, and when they take a risk, they're used to a reward profile, right? They're used to a chance of a reward or a given reward, right? They might even know before they go out there and take the risk what their chance of that reward is.
Let me
So
ask you
they
this.
need certainty, and people are willing to pay a lot of money for certainty.
Do you believe they actually understand? I don't believe they do. I see Trump supporters all the time. If you go over to a Fox YouTube channel and they're like, this is what I voted for, I support him. Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's like you all are low IQ, or you truly do not understand that this is not a good thing. I don't believe they understand.
I'm going to second that if you don't mind. If I may ask the floor for maybe in 90 seconds here. I work as consultant, IT consultant. I deal with a lot of change management. Whenever you do a digital transformation, you have to basically take into account what is going to be the change for the people, what's going to basically happen. And so change management is really important because when you look at what the US is doing, from on all those fronts, say that you have an organization, you need to install a new software, you got to let your employees know, you got to train them, you got to let them know what the impact is going to be. So when you're doing all of these changes across the country and internationally, and it starts with Canada and Mexico, then you've got these job cuts, then you've got, the voters that are basically, the morale's a little bit lower because now you've got job cuts. The food prices were supposed to go down. Cost of living was supposed to basically go down. Now you're finding out that the opposite is basically happening. Now you've got tariffs across all nations going out.
Now you've got China coming in with 35% tariffs and other countries retaliating. The impact and how this has been executed has been irresponsible and reckless. And you can't institute that many changes on that many fronts and think that things are going to basically be okay, because now, even here in Canada where I am, there's a fundamental change on how we view the US. We don't view the US as, hey, we've depended on you guys, you've been a big brother, so on and so forth. But there's a fundamental change now in how we're viewing the US, and we're like, hey, we need to be more self-reliant. And that's our fault. And I've always advocated for that, and that's a whole nother subject. But the fact is, when you make changes, you can't take a sledgehammer and basically go around and bashing everything and bashing those international relationships, because what's going to happen is everybody else is going to adapt to this, and then Americans are going to be isolated. And you can talk about, sure, we're going to build our factories, but that takes 18 months. That takes 2 years. That may take a lot longer. And the folks and the labor that's coming in, especially with the immigrants being basically rolled out because of ICE, you may not have a labor or workforce to basically deal with that. Are there solutions? Absolutely. But the fact is, they're going around making too many changes. The stock market is responding in a way that is negative per se, and the business sentiment and everyone's sentiment is like, what is going to happen? I'm telling you right now, from a change management expertise, this is horrific, and Trump is absolutely ruining the economy, and not
I do
just the
change
short.
management in I'm a quality assurance manager in food manufacturing plants across the US, and I do change management. You're absolutely right about the way that that works. The problem with this guy is he tells you I go with my gut. I go with a hunch. He doesn't listen to anyone. He just, well, who the hell fails in casinos? He's the only one that's done it. People literally show up and hand you money for nothing. And he had two that failed. Steve Wynn actually told him there's no way the Atlantic City market can support two of your casinos on that grand scale. He did it anyway, he failed. Trump
Excuse
water.
me. It was three.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Trump water, Trump steaks, Trump vodka, and the list goes on and on. The man fails at everything. He'd be 10 times richer now if he just took his daddy's $543 million, put it into the S&P, and didn't touch anything. The man is a moron, but he recognizes that his voters are dumber than he is. If most of his voters, they stock the wiper blades at Pep Boys, so they don't understand. They just believe.
So that's a pretty good one, stocking the windshield wiper play here. Years ago, I worked in consulting for little companies, Accenture, PricewaterhouseCoopers, Cognizant. And then I started my own play, specifically doing global strategy. He is doing the opposite. He and his administration is doing everything you do to ruin companies, and he's ruining a country with that ideology. And all of my clients have been Fortune 100 companies, little companies, AIG, Berkshire Hathaway, Geico, Progressive, Bank of America. Everything he's doing is 100% the opposite of how to build strategically a global play. Boeing and on HP, yeah, everything he's
Let me
doing wrong.
ask you this: when has when has when has Warren Buffett sold anything? He buys and he holds. He's dumping everything because he realized this guy is messed up. I went to school, international business, minored in finance. This dude, I'm telling you, and the thing is, he's so ego driven, has no empathy. It's all about his legacy, getting his head on Mount Rushmore. He will destroy this country. He don't give a shit.
Just like he destroyed his companies.
See, I don't mean
Exactly.
to interrupt with you guys, but I've been listening in the room, and there've been certain people who've been saying Why don't we just let this thing play out? He's only been in charge for like 70 days. Let's just let it roll. And I think to myself,
74.
74.
Super
And I think to
cats.
myself, if you were in a car with a friend and your friend was driving to the edge of a cliff, would you not say you need to pump the brakes?
I've known some people in my life who would say, "No, we're gonna go right over this cliff."
It's the equivalent of saying, hey, let's not arrest Jared Fogle. Let's just let him meet with a whole lot of other kids and not arrest him. This dude is the Plexico Burress of economics. He's
Speaking of
shooting America in the foot in a crowded club with an illegal gun while threatening everybody else. It is the Plexico Burress effect.
So Peter Navarro, the guy who he gets his economic theories from, who wrote a book about China, made up an alter person named Ron Vera, which is a backwards or misspelling of his name. Ron. He made up a person who he quoted in his book, of which Jared Kushner found this person on Amazon, cold called him up, hired him, brought him in, and he is the person advising Donald Trump. If you look at the math, for any of those who may have studied calculus or even math analysis after trig, and just look at the math that they put up there today. I looked at the math; it completely, unequivocally makes no sense at all. The equations he's using completely. I'm like, what? And I write algorithms.
They're just
I don't
stupid.
know what that. I was like, what? I've taught computer science in college. That this makes no sense for anybody who studied just algebra. Well, you know a little beyond algebra. Actually, like algebra two, trig, um, pre-calculus. Just look at the algorithm. Look at the math that he's following. It makes no sense at all. Go.
But can you also share why you'd want to put a tariff on an island with just penguins? Because I'm not clear on that one.
Look, we've already established the guy is a moron. The only way we can protect ourselves at this point is if you trade, if you're a day trader or a swing trader, you can handle yourself because if you looked at everything, look at Skyscanner today, everything's red. West Texas crude oil down. The Nasdaq down. S&P 500 down. All you need to do is keep shorting the market until he quits.
A way to win. So California's governor announced that they're still going to do trading internationally and fairly with entities around the world. But I highly suggest those to really get into the into doing business internationally in other countries. Really look at the continent of Africa, like Kenya. Look at what's happening in Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger. Kenya will be the next Singapore in a relatively short amount of time. Look at doing business with them, not for them. I think that is a massive opportunity. I think like a certain large amount of the population is under 30. Massive opportunities all over the place.
Well, I mean, the thing is, if you can trade, it doesn't matter because you're looking at the charts, you're looking at the moving averages, you're looking at the moving averages and moving average di- convergence and divergence. You're looking at that. If you're looking at that, it doesn't matter what's going on. You're going to make money. And right now, this is the easiest play. You can short anything and make money because he's in office.
But
Share if you look at
to the
Burkina
gentleman who
Faso.
just spoke about Kenya, I just want to say that you know that China is all over Africa, right? So not just Kenya, but other
Absolutely.
countries that have got the
Correct.
potential to be new powerhouses. They are there trading and doing business with them, building infrastructure, getting whatever they need to establish those solid partnerships.
China's
And the
all
reason
over
why I
the
mentioned
Caribbean as well.
and the reason I mentioned Burkina Faso because that man, that 35-year-old man who runs the country, has in a year or and a half or so cleared up all of the debt by taking control of their own resources, kicking France out, and actually selling their minerals at world spot prices and not through and not through an intermediary broker relationship. They are killing the game. It's called the Sahel region. It is Burkina Faso, Niger, Mali, Chad is next. It is not ECOWAS, which is something else.
You know, I'm so
Yes,
pleased that
Ty,
you're actually. I'm just so
I
pleased
was
that you're on the
agreeing with you,
platform and
Ty.
saying that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was just saying, I'm so pleased that you're on the platform and sharing that information because so often I listen to the commentary from folk on Clubhouse or on chat, and they speak about America and America's prowess, and they forget about the global impact and what's happening in other countries and why America should be aware. So it's so good that you're sharing this information.
I'm just telling anyone who's into opportunity and wants to generate revenue through a company and do business, I highly suggest getting to various countries on the continent of Africa. There are 54 countries on the continent, so it's not one place. It's many different languages, cultures, regions, but what is common is they many of them know how to do business as far as trade. Get into that space and you will generate it's right now, people, there's about a $400 trillion situation going on around the globe in endowments. I'm not even talking about pensions, but just there's so much money floating around. And the continent of Africa is literally the new Mecca, not as in Saudi Arabia, but I mean, it's the place to actually do business.
My uncle
Ty,
54
just
when you
bought
want
a
to
countries.
send them,
pecan
54
when
farm.
you
countries to
want to
check
send
out.
them,
My uncle
hold
just
on
bought a
hold on
pecan
1 minute.
farm right outside of
One,
Joburg.
when you want to introduce me to anyone, Ty, or anybody else, I'm in the middle of raising a $50 million fund for healthcare and specialty healthcare assets. So, specialty cancer centers, neurology centers, dental practices, things like that. The fund's 60% specialty healthcare assets and 40% tech. And it's all based out of East Africa, South Africa. And feel free to reach out if you know family offices, high net worth individuals. Just
Yes,
FYI.
back channel me on this chatter app today.
Okay.
At Pennsylvania, for those on the East Coast today, there was the Africa Futures Conference at Wharton School of Business. They had a conference today, and a woman named Brittany, one of my advisors, introduced me to her. I forget her last name. She worked under the Bush administration for PEPFAR. She worked under the Obama administration, under the Biden administration, and she herself came from Wall Street and then grew up, and then left Wall Street, went to hang out with the Jesuits for a number of years, and then decided to help people and then took her institutional knowledge of banking, went back to law school, graduated, and walked through how they set up the foundation of AIDS back in the day and the infrastructure in East Africa, in certain parts of West Africa, of which was the catalyst that when the COVID vaccine came about, they had that infrastructure in place. She just got out of the administration, out of the State Department, 74 days ago, 75 days ago. She's someone my advisor is introducing me to. Sync up with me. I'll give you an intro.
Can we at least admit, because I'm hearing a lot of people talking about Africa is new. The young lady, I think that was Laura that was speaking, you didn't just start making that move. That's the move that you've been making for several years. You're strategic in that. Just because America is actually seeing this, America is woefully behind in investment in Africa. China has been on this game for more than a decade. This is not new. It's just new because we're talking about it because the United States have largely ignored the largest continent for the last 30 years. And
They
China's
have,
therefore,
they have not,
everywhere, though.
they,
It's all
they
over the
have not,
Caribbean.
they have,
it's
they
not
have
new.
not, they have not ignored it, sir. They've been quiet about it, not letting certain people know. It has not been ignored. Kissinger was in this back in the 70s, and even before then, during the 60s, they've been all over Africa. Kissinger has a paper that you can get a FOIA information request to show that they were doing things back in the late 60s and early 70s specifically to disrupt the politicians and the people so they can have access to the resources. That's why in Congo right now, they've been disrupting this place for such a long time with Kinshasa and Brazzaville. You have nickel, coltan, there's all types of raping and pillaging that that West, not just Europe, but the United States has been doing for 30, 40, 50, 60 years. It's just the corporate industrialists put the media out there to make individuals think that there's nothing going on there, or it's just cultural and they're handing out huts and baskets and doing dances and people are poverty and starving with flies on. That's not, that's a narrative they've been pushed out there.
I'm
Little
not
of that is,
disagreeing
but
with
it is
that
a
part.
huge,
That's
massive resource opportunity.
But
that,
doesn't China now control every single port except one in
No,
Africa?
no,
no, they
no,
don't control every single port.
no. They don't control Burkina
They
Faso.
don't control
They
every
don't.
single
They
port.
don't. Well, there's no ports in Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso just built a huge thing uh, to Ghana. They don't control Cote d'Ivoire. They built a thing. They just did a thing with not Ethiopia. I think it's Ethiopia or on the east side, a big huge port situation there right now. But no, they don't. There's massive opportunities there. You
But
just got to get them.
the
Hey,
point
but
that I was
hey,
trying to make.
what I was gonna say, Ty, too. I know you said China doesn't control of the ports, but what China has been doing for a couple of years is loaning all the African countries and all African the money to build the infrastructure. So what they've been doing actually right now, they're moving some of their manufacturing plants, like textile mills and everything, to Africa, and then getting.
What country specifically? Because there's 54 countries. Which country are you talking about?
I'm talking specifically. I'm talking in Kenya. I'm from Kenya.
Oh, all right.
So they've been moving that. Like right now, they have been building roads and railway roads in Kenya, pretty much, and loaning all the Kenyan all the money they need to build all their infrastructure.
But
So
it's
that
not.
kind of ties.
But it's not an IMF loan, right? And
No, it's not an IMF loan. This is
by the way,
directly from
about a
China's
Ghani.
government.
Yes,
It's not. This is directly from Chinese government,
yes, yes.
and we have areas now in African Kenya called Chinatown, because all these Chinese people are moving there, giving the opportunity to people from them to have some jobs. So they're opening factories there. So they are
I've heard
playing.
about this actually.
Yeah. So they're not playing the short game. They're playing the long game, because they
Oh,
know if they
absolutely.
get all the
Yeah.
manufacturing stuff, or if got all the mineral stuff, which is everywhere in Africa, they're playing a long game. Where America now is just playing the short game. That's what I'm saying. When this tariff thing started, that's where China is like, okay, we can play this, because in
Yeah.
America it's all about capitalism.
Well,
But
But can I
it's about
also add? Can I also
capitalism
add to
mills.
that something else that's been happening? I'm sorry, something else that's been happening. Whilst China has been trying to get in and really been involved with infrastructure, America has had a long opportunity to be in Africa and do things. US aid was a significant part of that. And George Bush, who does get a lot of dings, was fundamental in increasing how much aid has been driven across Africa.
You're
And
right.
now,
You're absolutely right.
okay, just to finish, and just now, the ridiculous situation that has now happened with Doge killing USAID has damaged everything America has been doing in Africa. The edge, the soft power that America had in Africa is now seeping away. And China, that has been challenging and trying to establish themselves, have now got a clear path. So, whilst we talk about what Doge is doing, some of the unintended consequences are so fundamental that these people who are supporting that activity just haven't got an understanding.
You're absolutely right. Also, if you're not aware, there's a massive second largest base, air quotes, it's called an embassy being built in Beirut right now. The American embassy, it's going to hold a full on Marine expeditionary force there. They're talking about putting 5,000 people there because AFRICOM, U.S. command in Africa, has been kicked out of many countries. But having it in Lebanon and having an arrangement with the Israelis, they can jump off in 2 hours, be access to many areas: Jordan, Syria, Iran, the African continent. Just go look at Beirut on a map and see where it is in proximity to what I'm talking about.
Right.
5,000
So
No.
we can
seconds.
agree that this is
For
not new.
sure.
So we can all
Hold on a
agree that
minute.
this is
Let
not
me
new.
just jump in here for a minute about Africa. And by the way, Felix, if are you in Nairobi, or where in Kenya are you?
I'm in America right now, but I'll go
Oh,
home. Yeah.
okay. I do an event in Nairobi every. It'll be my second annual one this probably first week of June. So if you're in Nairobi, it'd be awesome to have you as a guest. I do it at Census Hub in Nairobi. It's an accessibility tech shared workspace and accelerator for
Okay.
people with disabilities. It's pretty awesome
I,
location.
I can
Uh,
connect with my sister. She's was in newspaper and everything, and she can help you with some connection there.
oh, that would
Yeah.
be awesome. We had
Yeah.
50 people last year, and we hope to do a 2-day event this year and have 50 entrepreneurs and 50 angel investors and
Okay.
VCs and panelists. Anyway, um, one of the big things that's going on in Africa between U.S. and China is that there's a lot more support by certain banks um, because there's still a concern. There's two big things. One is perceived risk and whether and the real risk and the potential to get a ROI, and the aspect of short-term gain versus long-term patient capital in Africa. Those two things, as well as the situation with the banks that are in China that back the investment that some of the giants are going into China. So the US system is still very fragmented. There's a lot of risk aversion. And while there is multi-billion-dollar investment, there's over 100 to 200 billion dollars just in infrastructure alone in gap investment. So it's an interesting area for sure. Any investment obviously has its set of risks, but there's some infrastructure challenges regarding that are making it harder for foreign direct investment into Africa from the United States, and so there's a lot of investment from the UAE. That's a big area that's going into Africa actually, as much as China and the U.S. So anyway, it's a great and by the way, I actually just due to Clubhouse and being co-founder of the Pitch Club is how I even was introduced to founders in Africa. And then I spent 9 weeks in Africa yesterday, not yesterday, 9 weeks last year. So it isn't something that I've looked at the last 2 years. It's just something I had the opportunity through Clubhouse Connection to spend time in Africa, to meet people, to potentially do this fund in Africa. So it's fairly new for me. But Robbie, you've been having your hand up and just freaking open your mic and jump in, even though I don't agree with you. I'm just kidding you. Go ahead, Robbie, if you haven't fallen asleep with your hand
A,
up.
a Laura Ty here.
Yeah, go ahead,
There are
Ty.
several
Yeah, go ahead.
banks that are doing business, Western banks, that if you find an opportunity, I'm just going to rattle them off here. JP Morgan's doing business in South Africa. Credit Suisse has an operation in some African countries. Standard Chartered, they still have things going on in the continent. The British Barclays has reduced some of its ex special operations in African countries, but they still exist. So there are banks that you find a project that can be monetized, that will back your play.
Yeah, we're just a little earlier. I agree on the. And when we get to the asset funding side of this, that has infrastructure and collateral, I think that we'll have, 50 million of equity and a good 20 to 30 million dollars of ABL funding. But I think given that we're an early stage to Series A fund, it's going to be a little tougher on the debt side of things. B of A has actually got a big presence in South Africa too. They have a big investment banking group in South Africa. But I can't wait to connect with you, Ty, and happy to have you help introduce us to some folks. We have a pretty large investment by a very big pharmaceutical company globally that we're pretty excited about as a lead, but we got a long haul. Back to you guys.
I just posted in the chat a bunch of banks on the continent that are doing business on the continent of Africa.
Who else is up? Robbie fell asleep with his hand up.
Laura, I'll send you my phone number. I can connect you with my sister who's in the ground.
Uh,
Okay.
that would be awesome. I would love that.
Okay.
I fell in
And
love with Kenya actually even more than South Africa, and I went to Mombasa. And the next time I go to Kenya, I'm going to take the train from Kenya or from Nairobi. Next time I go to Nairobi, I'm going to take the train from Nairobi to Mombasa and go to what's it called, Danya Beach or something like that.
Ahini Beach, and that's thanks to
Yeah,
China.
yeah. And there's a new train right between Lake Nevada. Like I rented a car and went all over to Mount Kenya and
Lake
Safari.
Naivasha.
Yeah, Lake
Naivasha.
Nevada.
Yeah.
Isn't there supposed to be a big train project going
Yes.
from there, and that
Uh,
whole area
yes.
is going to become an industrial zone?
Yes. Yes. They were supposed to building. I think they was having issue with funding. I think there was an issue. China was supposed to fund it, but I think there was some issues between China and U.S. was funding it, so they've been stopped through the new president. So, but the thing is about to go up again. So they'll be building that soon too. And right now, like the city is ultra modern. Nairobi is actually ultra modern city right now, with all the speed highways and everything right now.
Yeah, it was really awesome. Very highly educated people and very respectful. Um, just really warm, and yeah, I really, really love Nairobi.
Yeah, and that's what a lot
I
of
heard,
countries are going through because the age 60% of the population is under 30 and highly educated and uh, educated, and also in they know a lot of tech, so it's ready to go. It's just the unemployment is so high, so they're ready. They're ready to boom the country. So kids are waiting.
How's the English there? Is it good for call centers
oh
and
yeah,
other folks?
oh yeah, yeah.
English.
I actually
I don't
I
know.
think
I
that's
actually
funny when you
I'm
say
just
English.
asking.
Okay, I'll laugh about that.
I
I love
actually
that.
have a Kenyan call center. We're working a deal right now in Nairobi with some tech guys to set up a call center for us there. So yeah,
Yeah, if we can ever be any help, we've got deep connections to Nairobi High and
How
I
do I
sent
get in
obviously
touch?
I
Felix
sent
too.
you an email, Laura. So you
Awesome.
have my number, so text me.
And I texted you as well. I think we've been texting before, but I texted you on the 424 number.
Perfect.
Okay, how do I find you guys? Because I wouldn't mind asking a few questions or seeing if you guys can point me in that direction.
Yeah, I'm Laura Frank Bernard, so look me up on Clubhouse. All my phone numbers on there if you're coming over, if you're talking through Clubhouse. Look up the Pitch Club, Laura Frank Bernard, or just Google my name. You can reach one of my you can text me there or send me a text direct to my phone or WhatsApp.
Are you an international trade or a tech guy or an LP? What's your deal, man?
Just wants a date with me. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
Oh,
that too.
okay.
That too. But yeah, so I was looking Laura up. I'm a Microsoft consultant. I'm starting my own training firm. And yeah, with that said, I need operational support to manage those clients. So yeah, I'm really looking for, I mean, there's only so far AI will take you. You definitely do need some human touch and input at that point as well. So if I'm looking for
Yeah,
seed capital
Africa
to
or the
do that,
Philippines or something like that, or
Ab-
yeah.
Mexico.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Even Jamaica.
you know what? I probably would. Jamaica wouldn't be bad because I'm Haitian myself, right? So, I'm in Canada right now, but yeah, just yeah, supporting the diaspora per se, kind of resonates with me. So, wouldn't mind
Nice.
actually looking at Nairobi.
That's cool. You know, a lot of Google and Microsoft, a lot of folks have their Africa headquarters in Nairobi.
What
Just to be, yeah,
what has happened? My guy tells me in Nairobi that a number of companies have come there, and they've been contracted by a large, like a Microsoft or Google. They'll contract them, and the employees will, who are educated, will want more money because they're in the second tier as far as they're a subcontractor to a large company. And when they want more money, the company will just shut down and leave, and has left people without paying them. I like literally just heard this a few weeks ago from a group in Kenya, in Nairobi, from a tech company that had their tech support people there, and they said we're not paying them. They just left. I'm sorry, not a few weeks ago. In January, not in February. In January, not March, but in February. January, I heard about this.
Was the company Kenyan company or was it a foreign company?
It was a foreign company that hired Kenyans on behalf of Google, I think.
Okay. Yeah, there's just one thing we need to get rid of, especially in Africa and Kenya, is just the corruption too. Just need to get a little bit better at that.
It's no more corruption than here is in the United States, my friend.
Yeah, look at what Trump's doing.
Not
Yeah,
a, yeah. Does this is a whole other level? Well, no, actually, it's not. Actually, it's not in the United States. It's been done before. It's just not so blatant. Well, actually, no, that's not true. Hey, Laura, you may want to think about bringing your crowd to Chatter. And there are more people on Clubhouse, but you can pull them on Chatter. It's or
Yeah, I brought.
Sidecast.
We're waiting. I think when we get to V2, so starting probably May 1st, we'll be multi-streaming, but we're still getting a couple people per minute. We used to get like 10 plus, 20 plus per minute, but here it's like me and like unless I go into a certain number of rooms, yeah, I'm not our folks aren't over here yet, but I've got about 30 people that I brought over, but I need to bring hundreds, so it'll happen in time because it'd be awesome to like stream to Clubhouse and YouTube and Spaces and stuff like that, but have it be resident on Chatter to be able to use the video for founders to be and the screen sharing and be able to bring in the bots so they can share their pitch decks and their websites and things like that. So in due time, but they're yeah,
Hey,
you know how it
Laura,
is. Yeah.
we should do the pitch room again. It's credit.
Oh yeah, feel free. Yeah, we'd love to have you. We do about 3 rooms a week on Clubhouse still,
No, no, on
and you're,
Chatter.
yeah, on Chatter totally. I've been doing whenever I open a room, there's like nobody in there but me.
So,
So, but I'll
a,
reach out to credit. Maybe if you did it with me, then we could draw more.
Yeah, we'll get 1,000 people in. Just hit me up.
Okay, I will. Thank
wow,
you, dear.
impressive credit.
That's
She's
what I
awesome. I
do,
love
Ty.
credit.
That's what I do,
I
man.
love credit.
Say again.
If I'm not making money in the room, I don't open it.
So, we have a show on our media company actually out circling amongst investors on the brand and agency side, where there's a pitch, a person pitching on every single episode. This is actual television, so interesting. You just mentioned that.
Yeah, Ty, you're always welcome. We had a really good room last week. We had 2 founders pitch, and I don't know, we had like 160 people in and over a course of almost 2 hours. But we
So,
one was was a pretty cool fit tech, fashion tech, where basically an AI tool to um, it was a Shopify plugin for fashion so that you could change the model out to yourself and look at the clothing on yourself. And
are
and then
are your pitch
yeah,
rooms for investors or people just pitching, or is it a competition? I mean, what exactly is the model? Is it like
we've done so we do it's education focused and it's the Sunday room is like a mini Shark Tank kind of thing. But it used to be. It's that not as big as it used to be. But we do like uh, how to pitch rooms. I do a metrics matter room that's like a financial literacy room, like explaining to people about safe agreements and convertibles counting methods and metrics, and so some of it's education and some of it is raw. You got 90 seconds, get up here and pitch, and then you know, we give you feedback. So, and you can come
Okay,
pitch
so
in. Yeah.
so it's not investors actually
No, it's
there.
investor,
So
the panel. No, the panel is angels, VCs, multi-time founders, exited founders, C-suite executives are the panel, the hosts, and then the people that pitch are tech and non-tech founders and entrepreneurs.
so
So
you'll
yeah.
have tech and non-tech in the same pitch session?
Well, we have whoever we have not. We've allowed it to be a basically first come first serve kind of thing. In the future, we'll probably have some scouting where we clear two or three of the people to try to stack the deck to people that actually have viable, scalable businesses. Because to date, we've just let it be open forum so anybody and everyone can come up and pitch. So it's a very respectful room from the standpoint. I mean, Credit was in it for a long time in in the pitch club on Clubhouse. She was a regular on our Sunday pitch room. But we led rooms 7 days a week. I mean, then we built an 82,000 member community.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna have to listen to. I'm just the last time I pitched years ago, I actually won the competition and raised a lot of capital and had and then even more capital. But it was a little thing called Startup Weekend back in the day,
Oh,
and
cool.
uh, and then and then and then of course TechCrunch, and then
Yep.
Y Combinator. So that's what I'm like. Wait, is this like that, or is this is we only go pitch?
It's way
I don't
not,
pitch
it's not
anymore.
as good as, I wouldn't say it's as high level as Y Combinator or Techstars, but some of the people that are on have been on there. I mean, you've got, Julie Lyle was a regular. She was the ex CMO of Walmart and Raytheon and Barnes and Noble. And she's with Sandhill East. You had people that were the CFOs of family offices. You have a lot of angel investors. David Rose is the founder of Gust, and he leads. He was the founder of the New York Angels. They've invested like 200 to 300 million collectively. They do about 20 to 30 million a year. So you had some legit folks in there on the panel that know finance and know this space.
Excellent.
Are the presentations, are they virtual or in person? How's that format?
It's been audio only on Clubhouse, right? So that's all we've had, the ability. And so once we come here, it's going to be. And I was on Connect.club and Fireside and Speakeasy, but those platforms died pretty quickly. So they didn't have scale, so we couldn't really migrate to a space that we could have the video aspect, which I think is a game changer once we get it going. Because I think the founders will pitch better with a deck, even if they're on audio and they have their bot kind of taking through a deck and showing their websites and stuff like that. I think it'll be better than just audio only.
Absolutely. I also, of note here, I found you on LinkedIn. That's usually where I communicate through, and I think I sent you a message here. You'll see it with my
Okay, I'm
credit.
gonna look right now.
All right, excellent. Thank you.
I sent you my Excel and I said theory, right? That was you.
Yes, Thierry,
Yep. Yep,
French.
Terry.
So
I got you. Yeah.
excellent. Yeah, I got
Nice
the
to meet
note
you.
back here. Awesome, perfect. No,
I
I'll take a
sent you a
look. And
connect notice too.
yeah, I think there was another gentleman in here that was discussing, or at least had knowledge that you guys were going to connect with on that front.
Yeah,
So
Ty. Yeah, Ty's great. He's got
yeah,
great expertise.
Yeah, so if there's a little huddle that takes place or a consortium, I definitely would like to learn more and just diverse because I'm at that stage where I've been building the company for 3 or 4 years, gone through different rebrands, but I've got a really well thought out approach, and there's definitely a market need for it. Now I need to kind of figure out how operationally I'm going to make everything best structured in terms for growth, right? So that's the stage I'm at right now, and it's not going anywhere. It's not like it's dependent on timing or anything of that sort because it's that specialized, but it's that needed, and that's being a Microsoft a 365 co-pilot trainer. There's a massive gap in the marketplace in terms of how companies are leveraging the tools that Microsoft constantly puts out for businesses that have those accounts but don't know how to use the platform. So I have some accelerated platform solutions that I want to put out. My first focused industry is going to be law firms, but I also want to recruit individuals that can be ambassadors, industry ambassadors, such as myself, so that they can develop a solution that's tailor fit for other particular industries and what their needs are at a larger scale, not just the corporate scale, but the medium to medium business scale as well. So it's all exciting.
Do you need an invite to Chatter?
Never worked on Chatham. I don't even know what that is, but sure.
Oh yeah, come on over to Chatter. So I'll text you my invite. I still have an invite. I'll text it to you on LinkedIn, and then I'll give you the Chatter social website. Or do you have an Android or iPhone?
I'm on iPhone.
Okay, yeah, I'll give you the iPhone app. The download from the App Store Chatter Social, and then I'll give you my invite code, and you can hop on in.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, I think it's really important to have that network as well because the life of an entrepreneur is one of solitude sometimes, but should really be one of networking as well, which, I think it's such a skill that I have that I take it for granted, but once I get out there, I'll definitely be able to convey the story accordingly. I'm just looking forward to getting onto that phase of it as opposed to being in the lab.
I just wanted to insert. So we're talking on the Chatter app now, and that's what she was inviting you to come over to. But make sure you download the app first, and then click on her in, the invitation, so you can come join us. And there's video. It's interactive. You're gonna love the platform.
Yep, I just sent you on LinkedIn the actual app from the App Store plus my invite code, so you get both links.
Sounds good. Okay, I'll take a look here. It's getting pretty late where I am, but I'll definitely drop in and
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
take a
come in
quick spin.
tomorrow.
And yeah,
You'll have a little rocket next to your name, and everybody will be nice to you
oh
until
no,
you
hey,
start
listen, you
talking
know
about
what?
politics.
I always have a good time, so nothing personal. It's all in the spirit of collaboration. So thank you.
And Laura and Sheree, there's quite a few people in the audience on Clubhouse that maybe need an invite too.
Okay.
Okay, I have
Well,
a few invites.
I can
Thanks.
drop
I'm
them in
not
the
sure
chat
how we're
over here
doing
too.
that.
I'll drop it in the chat on Clubhouse.
Okay, thank you.
thanks, guys. Jonathan must have fallen asleep, and Daphne.
Yeah, I think he did. Hey, Laura, it's great to hear you. So great to hear you.
Hey, the
Yeah,
clubhouse DTN is closed. So where are they talking from?
We
Clubhouse DTN.
Are
no
you
the TT,
serious?
the clubhouse still open, hon. Should we close it?
Is still open?
Yeah, it's still open. That's why she's talking to Theory right now in Clubhouse.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, JB closed down and then opened it back up.
Gotcha.
Yeah, there's over 50 people in that room.
Well, that's awesome.
I'm glad that you set up your
Yeah.
channel for Pitch Club, Laura. Laura, it's excellent to be
Oh,
doing.
thank you. Thank you. Did I come in too hot as my female card tonight?
Absolutely not.
No,
It
yeah, I
was
love you.
necessary. You were right on time, LFB.
Always great to hear you, Maura. Always here to also help you if you need to moderate your room for Pitch Club here. Just
Oh,
like we did
awesome.
in Clubhouse.
Exactly. You got it.
I was just speaking to one of the investors that I know, and he just had a big win. So we're trying to celebrate with him, and maybe I'll get him to. He's in the sector of what you're doing right now with the medical situations, hospitals, whatever. So I'll ask him to see if he wants to connect with you.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. Oh my God, I heard about the coolest founder, or sorry, investor today. It was, I was talking to a pretty cool electric scooter company based out of England, and they do like a city and then an off-road and then a golf cart type. Can you imagine going on a golf course and being on a stand-up scooter instead of a like a boring golf cart? And you think about it, like you get four people or two people in a golf cart, and your balls don't go in the same place, right? They go in two different directions. That sounded kind of interesting, but anyway, um,
Yeah,
you have to
all
go
these
from one.
innovations.
Yeah, you got to go from one to the other. So you have um, these individual scooters, and you just scoot all over the course. And apparently they're growing. I never even thought about that. So that's kind of an anyway. The investor is this very high net worth individual, female, 70-year-old from Italy, very very wealthy family in Italy, and she only invests in she donates to women and children in emerging markets, and then she invests in sustainability. And apparently, Barcelona now, I haven't been there, but I don't know if I've ever been to Barcelona, but
You need to go. Oh my God, you
they
would
said it's
love
like
it.
all e-scooters and e-bikes. There's like hardly any cars.
Yeah.
It's
Hello. Yes.
amazing.
I'm surprised you didn't go and jump from London.
I need to do that when I come over in late May. I mean, I've got a little grandson, so I've been focusing on helping my daughter, but yeah,
Yeah, you need to go. That's your next stop for sure. Yeah. It is a place for you for sure with what you're doing.
really cool.
Yeah. It's really cool there. And also just anywhere in Madrid, even up in the Burgos area and up northern Spain is just incredible because remember, you got those pilgrimages and, I don't
Oh
know.
yeah, you're talking about like the one that goes all the way into Portugal?
Yes, a Camino. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
almost
the
did that.
way. Yeah, there's a lot of places there that you can actually, I would suggest to go visit those little places that they can stop in, especially like Burgos. Oh my gosh. Yeah. You would do well there too.
Oh, I'm getting tired.
Doing
By the
good.
way, Laura, I spoke with my friend Irina about interviewing her dad about the his Holocaust experience. And she's gonna take a little convincing, but I just told her, I'm like, just give me Grandpa's number. So I'm sure I'll talk to her again over the weekend, and we'll
That's great.
set that up. I'll send you my number.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's really cool. That would be an honor. Who else is awake? Is anybody else? I know Credit is about to go to bed soon. It's 10:20 in Reno. She's snuggling up with her dog.
How's the baby?
Oh my God, so cute. But I babysat him all by myself tonight for 4 hours. That was hard. You don't realize how much effort a little tiny baby is until you do it yourself. I don't know how single parents do it. Oh
Not
Lord,
imagine single parents with three or four of them.
I know those infants though. The first 4 to 6 months.
Yeah, I'm a single parent of one, but I'm really blessed that she's easy and just has always been an easy kid. Thank God.
So where's all the bullshit artists? They left. They stopped trying to convince us that that this is a normal thing and it's a good thing.
They
Yeah,
talk.
they
They
fell
talk.
asleep.
They talk themselves to death.
We thought you'd fallen asleep, Jonathan.
Ravi still has his hands up.
I know he fell asleep at the end.
So I'm registered for that Chatter app, and I'm looking at. I followed your invite here. I'm not sure if I'm in the right space though.
First, download.
Bro, download the app. Yeah, download the app, man.
All right, that's done. All that is done. I'm
Okay,
actually
then hit the
registered.
invite. You good?
Okay.
Dude, I can't.
Then look for debate the news in the hallway there.
Okay, because I see community giveaway, invites remaining, and then room name goes here. So then there's a bunch
Yeah.
of rooms here. So
Yeah,
do I
yeah, yeah,
type in
yeah.
the name
Yeah.
of the room?
Hey, Luis, is Luis awake? I don't know if we're gonna do the fuck Trump podcast. Get that out the way.
Tonight, Jonathan.
Whatever, bro.
Tonight here.
Nah, they have to go whatever. Just it's time to say fuck Trump.
Actually, this would be a good time for it, huh?
Now I want a few more engaging people. Got a few more engaging people here. Yo, they come in with that bullshit lying, bro. Like, yo, this is it. This is America. This is what America's supposed to be.
Who's saying? Who's lying? Who's which network?
Nah. Just the people in his room.
Okay. You know, the one thing that I find funny is that Trump tariffed that one country that had penguins, right? That country's got penguins. He's tariffing penguins apparently, but the one country he hasn't tariffed is Russia.
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 Bro, did you get inside chatter?
I'm still inside chatter. I'm looking at start a conversation, community giveaway, invites remaining, and then let's talk about it with a room name goes here. And I see a live feed, but I there's no indication that I'm in a room. I'm just on the home screen right now. So I don't know if I'm messing up here, but I followed the link and the link brings me literally to the homepage on chatter.
Just scroll down until you
Screw.
see debate the news.
Okay, I think I'm gonna search for it because I have a lot of channels.
Now, dude don't know what he's doing. He's not on it.
Or you can search.
Okay, look at the bottom. Do you see? What do you see at the bottom? Do you
I
see
see home,
home
upcoming,
page?
discover. Yeah, I see home, upcoming, discover,
Okay,
channel,
so
and
hit
profile.
home. Okay,
Okay. Yeah, I'm on
and
home.
then scroll down,
Yeah.
and you're gonna start seeing a whole bunch of
Bunch of
rooms.
room. Okay, because I see live feed, and then I see
Okay,
one.
live feed, and then you see the Southern Trolls, and then
Yeah,
vibes, and
yeah. Okay,
okay,
okay.
okay, go all the way down to debate the news. You see debate the news
Hold on. Yeah, I see
is
it.
is like the fourth one down. You see it?
Yeah, I
Click
see
on
it.
it. Click on it.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's see if you're at the bottom.
What's your name? Do you have a
I
picture?
invited him up.
Theory,
Okay,
yeah,
there you go.
theory.
Now come on up. Come on, accept it. Accept the invite. There
Gotcha.
you go. You're on stage.
Oh,
And now you're
awesome.
on mic.
All right,
Welcome
Now,
to
let me.
now,
Chatter.
now mute your other one from Clubhouse. Mute your other one from Clubhouse. Okay, there you go. Okay, get out of there. Okay, now unmute here. Unmute. There you go.
Perfect. I'm in. All right. Thank
Okay.
you for the walkthrough.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. It's like VIP entrance here.
There you go. You got action.
Hey, excellent. Hi, everyone.
Now follow everyone in the room, right? And then next time people are in other rooms, you can find them, like your friends and stuff, or people that you want to see on, like in this room, in other rooms. You can find them everywhere.
Gotcha.
And there's a video element if you ever want to use that.
Yeah. So your four big buttons at the bottom. You got the speaker, which is the one you speak on, and then the second one is your camera. If you hit that, you're going to go on camera. Like your camera is going to show you, right? And we can see you up top. And then the one next to that is your chat room, and then next to that is your emojis. When you want to put emojis like in a room, like without unmiking, that's what you do. So those are your big four buttons that you use.
Okay, no, sounds good. I'm up to speed.
That costs you $4.99. No, I'm just joking.
Gift card, man, coming through. Yeah, if I could say, yeah, gift card. Favorite coffee shop or bar.
No, I'm good. I'm just kidding.
So, is this room constantly open, or is it just kind of
No,
in the
well,
background? Or?
yeah, debate the news is going to have some kind of a show all day long, right? So you just look for it the same way in that hallway. You scroll down, you can see different rooms, and just look for debate the news. And there's like debate the news, uh, local news during the day. There's a bunch of different ones, right? And then, but nighttime around 8:30 ish 9, usually we start this main room with politics.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, I'm always looking for good politic conversation,
Yeah,
especially
so
in
just
this
come
room.
here
Yep.
around like 8 o'clock, 8:30. But during the day, you'll find a bunch of news too. Like people are just in there lounging, talking about different news and politics and stuff like that during like work time. Oh, and then
Yeah.
also go up top. Go up top. You see all the way up top of the stage
Yeah.
where it says the room name.
Got it.
You see
I
what it?
could,
Okay,
I
You
can't
see where
see.
at the bottom of that it says
What you
debate
trying
the.
to do?
Hold on one second. Do you see
Yeah, I'll hit
debate?
follow. I got
Yep.
follow.
All of
Yeah,
it.
I'm
Yep.
following.
Okay.
Gotcha. Okay, moved. Okay, got it. Yeah, I'm navigating the settings here, so
Oh,
I'm good to go.
yay. He made it over. Yay.
Where's Laura? That's I'm trying to
I just
follow
got back.
you.
I just got back.
Oh, you
I
just
my
got
phone
back.
died.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
You
my
must be
phone
at the
died.
bottom then, or
Yeah,
is
Yeah.
it?
You
Okay,
wait.
I
Wait.
got you. Perfect. Okay, and I'll follow you too.
And Thierry, you can see on the top right hand corner who's speaking. Do you see
Yeah.
my? Yep. I'm
Okay.
Sheree. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Sheree. Thank you for the warm welcome here. Where's everybody at?
New York City, baby.
Okay, we're in New York.
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. I used to live off of Flatbush, over not too far from Church by Prospect Park.
Oh yeah, I'm near
Yeah.
the park. I'm near the park.
Oh, you're near the park. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it has a new fancy name. You ready?
Oh, what is it?
It's bullshit. Prospect Lefferts Gardens, my dear.
Oh, good lord. Okay. Yeah. No, it was just Prospect Park. That was enough.
AKA Flatbush.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it was the four. I don't know what the. Yeah, it's Prospect Park Station on the four line, right?
Yep, 525.
Two 5. Okay. Yeah, because it was the orange line.
I really
Oh,
don't.
okay. Yeah, because I used to take the metro to Manhattan all the time to go
Yeah,
work at
I
this.
either I walk everywhere or I drive probably once a week. But everything I can walk to everything.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, you're good over there. So has it been gentrified over there, or is it because it was like West Indies vibe when I
Yeah,
was?
it's still a little Caribbean. Of course, it's being gentrified. I live in a gorgeous luxury building with a movie theater and all the shits. Yeah, it's being gentrified like everywhere else.
Wow. Yeah, because no, that neighborhood